Shalom friends, welcome to Daf Reactions, Zevachim 86 and 87. Midnight at the Beit Hamikdash. Do you know where your sacrifice is? I hope so. The Mishnah says, if there is a burnt offering on the altar, scorching away, feeling the burn, but then for whatever reason the offering or like a chunk of the offering flies off the altar, what to do? The Mishnah says, don't panic, first establish a timeline of events. Check the CCTV footage, cherub cam. Based on that, ascertain, did the piece of offering fall off before or after midnight? If before, the nightshift Kohanim take it and place it back onto the altar because it still needs to cook. But if it happened after, technically that offering is done and you don't have to throw it back. But the Gemara goes, no, it's not about what time it happens at. That's not what this is about. It's about how burnt is that burnt offering. If it's not charred to smithereens, God's not into it. If it's not putting the burnt in burnt offering, throw it back, even if it's after midnight. We know it's not going to turn into a pumpkin, but it does have to turn into cinders. And then Rav comes in with no, midnight actually does matter. Either this is because Rav is really Cinderella's fairy godmother in disguise, or, as is, slightly more likely, he's referencing the verse in the Torah that says burnt offering's supposed to burn all night. And then in the morning, Kohanim come by to clear the ashes. So the night is split into two parts. Until midnight, that's for burning. After midnight, that's for sweeping. Now, on to another burning question. What if a chunk of sacrifice fell off the altar right before midnight, but did not get put back up until 12:05? It was not on there at midnight at all. So the fire did not eat our sacrifice. Can we have an extension on our homework here? Rabbah says, well, by the following midnight, the midnight after, by then, that's fully burnt. You're not going to get more burnt than that. And Rav Chisda is like, no, dawn is the cutoff. We're not going further than dawn. Rabbah says, but if the sacrifice wasn't put back on the altar until after dawn, midnight of the next night, that renders them completely consumed. And Rav Chisda is like, LOL, no, by that point, the window of time that we're talking about here has firmly closed. It's closed. We have shot past it. And Rav Yosef is like, no, I'm going to tell you what the deal is, okay? Clock strikes midnight. Technically speaking, that means that all of the sacrifices have indeed been consumed, technically speaking, even if they were removed before midnight and not yet returned to the altar. And all of these sages go and agree with him. And the discrepancy between those takes and the takes of Rabbah and Rav Chisda ignites curiosity in Rav Papa. And he goes over to Abaye and he's like, okay, can you explain to me, if all of them agree with Rav Yosef, what's up with Rabbah and Rav Chisda? I'm not following. What's going on? And Abaye is like, oh, okay, I see the confusion. They're talking about super juicy, fatty limbs. They're so juicy, they may not be able to burn before midnight. They're going to need a little bit longer to cook before they're fully turned to ash and ready to be removed. Now, as I was learning this stuff, I did think back to my first favorite movie ever, and that was Mary Poppins. I did envision the team of Kohanim that would show up before the break of dawn to, clean all the sacrificial ash in a very certain way. I did, in fact, see them as Bert and the chimney sweeps. I mean, maybe without the Cockney British accent, but wouldn't it be funny if those Kohanim had that too? And I thought maybe they could also update their iconic song. Up where the smoke is all billowed and curled, between Azara and stars is a Mizbeach sweep world, where there's hardly no day and hardly no night. There's things half before and then half after midnight, on the altar top of Jerusalem. Oh, what a sight. And then I hope they had an energetic dance sequence with brooms.